Alright, so this video was sent in by my friend Bull, SpectreBull. You've seen him in the chat before, probably. He has 584 hours, or 585 hours, I believe, doing Skull Merchant on Eyrie of Crows. Now, Eyrie of Crows still got its nerf recently, but it still kind of retains a lot of its strength as a survivor map, because a lot of the resources are still really, really good and are pretty close together. So there's a lot of chainability between tiles. So playing an M1 killer on this kind of map can be pretty painful. Skull Merchant has the drones, though, which cover a lot of area. So on a smaller map, that may be more helpful. So we could go either way. Let's see how this goes. Okay. All right, putting your drones up. Picking some gens preemptively to but if you have a character like this, like Skull Merchant, who like is good at area control, something like Trapper or Hag as well, I would what I would do is I would put my traps or my drones or whatever happens to be around gens that would be smart to get done first, like gens that are in the center of the map or gens that are in dead zones, because those are typically the gens survivors try to do first, because obviously if you get those out of the way, the rest of the match is pretty easy. So that's where I would start my area control on area control killers, is on those riskier gens. Okay, good. They're getting that symbol too. Interesting. So somebody is... Yeah, somebody is like... yeah, I'm gonna say somebody is... still hanging out in that area. It gets exposed. Now, I don't know if you knew this or you did this on purpose, but you can tell that somebody is actively in your drone area. So, I want to point this out, because a lot of people don't know what the buttons on Skull Merchant's little doohickey or little iPad means. So, I want to explain this. So this left button is entirely based on the placeability of your drones. If it's red, you're not allowed to place a drone here. If it's green, you're allowed to place a drone here. So if your drones are too close together, this will flash red. If you're in a space where, you know, the drones are spaced out, it'll flash green, meaning you can use your power here. Now, the other button, this one on the right, this lets you know that somebody's actively inside one of your drones. You see this on the left as well, with the... obviously the exposed buildup on the left, but this button on the right also turns on when somebody is actively within one of your drones. So that's what the two buttons do. Because there's been a lot of confusion over what those do since she's been out, but that's concretely what they do. This one, the left button is devoted to placeability, and the right one's devoted to, you know, is somebody actually in one of them. Yeah, you leave the sprint burst gamer, and you choose to go after the person that was ratting, who was exposed, so they're down. Good play, good play, good play. Ah, yeah, you tell him. Good idea to put that up before you pick up, get kind of that subtle haste. Kind of the same thing you would do with like a clown bottle. Throw down the yellow clown bottle so you get haste while you're carrying the person. Same thing with that. And you don't even have to recall it, because, you know, if it's right next to the hook, it just comes right back to you anyway. So that's a smart thing that you should be doing. Play Skull Merchant is kind of using that free haste while using the purple add-on. Honestly, I think that purple add-on, like, I feel like she should get some sort of haste, like, just naturally, because it's just like, it's such this is such a good add-on that everybody runs. I would gladly take the haste and just leave out the kick part and just have that all the time. That'd be so nice for her. See, like, this Kate, what this Kate keeps doing is she keeps sprint bursting. Like, this is what Bull's doing that's really smart. Is that Kate thinks she's smart because she keeps using her sprint burst to run to very, very strong structures, and just yeeting away. But Bull knows that, hey, I'm an M1 killer, so I'm not going to hunt you down with an M1 killer and waste all that time. I'll just chase somebody else then. So this Kate is kind of unintentionally getting the rest of her team into a bad situation, because she only wants to chase at really, really strong structures and areas, and Bull knows better than to do that. So he's just like, yeah, whatever, go. Sprint burst towards Shack, see if I care. I'll just put the drone up and I'll leave. You know? I'll just go. Screw it. Screw it. Okay, so somebody is in there. So the little arrows on your screen, when you're looking at a little iPad, the arrows, if it's a square, you're on the same level of elevation. If you see the arrow pointing down, obviously they're below. Arrow pointing up means they're above. So this Ada is in the basement for some reason. And you find Dwight just hiding here for whatever reason. This Dwight is making choices. I honestly, this is a very minor. I would have taken him basement here. You saw on your little doohickey that somebody was already in basement, so you might as well just take him basement, and either she hides and you get a double hook in basement, or she runs out and you get a hit on the way down. So there was a missed opportunity for extra pressure here. And you may be thinking to yourself, it's like, well, the match is going pretty well so far. But like, how many times am I playing in the middle of a DBD match and I blink or I sneeze and then like the match is like over, right? Like how many times do I like blink, sneeze, like look the other way for a second and then suddenly like 3 gens are done? That's why like you should play well all the time. Like and this is something I do wrong, right? Like I'm not perfect with this. Is I'll let people get their pressure back if I feel like I'm going too hard, and then I end up regretting it later. But like you never know fully what everybody is doing. Yeah, that's the Mr. Nice Guy syndrome. You never know fully how much pressure is actually being put on you as killer. Even if you have a great macro sense of knowledge, you can't truly know how much pressure is being enacted onto you at any given point. So it's always good to like play as if, you know, you're under that much pressure all the time, because you can't be sure. You can't be sure. I wonder if this is recorded, because it seems like they're having desync issues too. You see the little red thing pop up constantly. Yeah. That's the issue we were having today. They're really dumb to unhook with you literally right there. It's not very smart. You see Dwight right there, and you know he doesn't have a DS. So, it's the mean thing to do, but theoretically, you could end this game, like, right now. You don't need to. But especially in the case of, like, securing an adept, ideally you could have just hunted him down and killed him. And there was no real way to, like, for him to be able to stop you there. This is fine, though. You're at 3 gens. It probably won't cost you anything. And that would be a hard 3-hook tunnel, but, like, once again, adepts are easier than they used to be, but they can still be pretty difficult, so. Yeah. They're just saving with you right here. They just, like, don't care for whatever reason. You could have hit her. You could have hit her. This is another thing, is, like, for some, like, this is a thing I see a lot of players do, is they won't hit somebody who's come right off hook for whatever reason. And I always do, just because, like, it's free pressure, right? Because they have to go mend and then heal. Because remember, time in DBD is gen time. Time in DBD is gen time, so time, like, not on a gen is very, very important for you as killers. So that's why you slug. That's why sometimes you proxy camp, is because you're pulling people away from gens. That's, like, the idea. If you hit her here, she has to mend and then heal if she wants to be healthy. So that's a time waster for her. So I always just, like, hit people here. Because, you know, obviously if I do that, then they have to waste more time, and that's, you know, less time on a gen. Also, if she has something like off the record that she's wanting to abuse aggressively later, you've just eaten through the endurance really, really early. So I would just take the hit there. I would just smack her. And she zones herself into nothing and just goes down. I wonder if it is the DVD servers, because like, yeah, because they were desyncing the entire time. Interesting. Yeah, there it is again. Huh. I used to, it gives me fond memories watching somebody play DBD on PlayStation, because I used to use a PlayStation controller on my PC, like a PS4 controller, and I played all my games that way. Like, I actually switched to mouse and keyboard very, very late in the game. I feel like I played my first, like, 500 hours in DBD. Why is she giving up already? I played my first 500 hours in DBD on PC, but I was using a controller, just because it was what I preferred. Yeah, I don't know why she's giving up here. They're at 3 gens. Like, this is definitely a winnable match. As long as Dwight stays safe, you have... Yeah. As long as Dwight stays safe, Kate has no hooks. She only had 1 hook before she got hooked. And Claudette only has 1 hook. That is not a lost match. They're giving up too early. See, the Sprint Burst didn't help her there because she didn't run into anything important. She just ran into a dead zone. Well, these survivors win. I think he does end up winning this, because most of the match reviews that people have sent in, they've gotten it. Like, there was one match we had that didn't. Oh, what was this? A lot of matches have been sent in. They've just won. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. There was no reason to swing here. Even if, yeah, like, you're not even at a range where you would have clipped her if she had messed up the timing. Like, you're all the way back here. You are, if you laid this pallet down flat, you still wouldn't even reach you. Like, you were really far away. I wouldn't have swung here. Yeah, I wouldn't have swung here. What does this play? Oh, you're trying to go... I guess you're trying to cut off Kate? Yeah, she's Death Hook. You see her, and you go, okay, hey, look, a Death Hook gamer. This is the advice I gave from one of my other match reviews, so always go after your Death Hook gamers. Lily disembarked Chase to go after a Death Hook gamer. Very smart. I mean, some part of match reviews, Brand 2, is to hear what you're doing right as much as it is to hear stuff you're doing wrong. Like that positive reinforcement too. It's kind of a double-edged... not a double-edged sword, because that's positive and negative. Well, I guess it kind of is. Yeah, it's not a double-edged sword, right? Like, you get to hear the bad things, but you also get to hear good things that you do correctly. You know? So there's that, you know, positive aspect of it as well. Okay, so she's dead, and you have Dwight dead. Kate doesn't have a hook. Claudette has 1, but, like... You know, you are at 3 gens with a Death Hook gamer. A lot of this is you are playing well. I want to say this: you are playing well, but these survivors are making a lot of incredible mistakes. They're like, she greeted that way too long, way too long. Being injured and not having her sprint burst up, and like. Yeah, being injured and not having her sprint burst up and greeting that much, like, that was a bad play. The Dwight has been consistently out of position this entire match. Like, he has not looped well once in the time I've seen him, no offense to the player. And both Dwight, Kate at the beginning knew to sprint burst to strong structures, but kind of stopped later in the match. So these 3 have consistently just, like, looped very, very poorly. So as much as you're playing well as well, just keep in mind that, like, a lot of your success in this match is based off of very terrible mistakes that these people are making as well. And I think it's an important skill to know as killer, is like, how much of this is me and how much of that is them making mistakes. And I think you're playing well in this, but a lot of the reason the match is going the way it is because of their mistakes. Because they are not playing well, unfortunately. Once again, no offense to the players themselves, but they just are not playing well. Yeah, I would kick that good. I was like, if you didn't do that, I was going to say, hey, you should kick that. Because you have her right here. Because this is what I call creating a hotspot. And I've explained this in some of my other videos. Is you have decided, you have a gen right here that is 99 essentially. And you have a hook right here. So what you do to create hotspots in DBD is you chase someone into an area where you know there's a lot of other players trying to like do something, right? And then when you down them, you hook them close to something else that you want to pressure or defend. In this case, there was a gen that was 99. You downed her quickly in this area and then hooked her right next to where this gen is trying to be finished. So now you can watch, you can pressure the gen, you can pressure the hook save, all at the same time, and force both Claudette and Dwight to play your game instead of them having to play, you know, them having the ability to play however they want. So you've created a little hotspot here at this corner of main building where you can kind of like, you know, control where people go in and out and you allow what happens here. Usually this is kind of like a good example of this that kind of happens naturally is like Azerov's or Sanctum of Wrath. The middle of those maps are like because the maps are essentially like a here, hold on. Let me bring this up actually. The maps in those two maps, Azerov's and Sanctum of Wrath, are built like the 5 on a dice. You know, you have just a normal D6 of dice, and it'll have the 5 squares. It's built like that. So you'll have like this, and then you'll have the top 2 points, and then there's a choke point in the middle. There's a choke point in the middle, and naturally there will be a lot of easy pressure killers can get right here, because as long as you like defend this middle gen, you're able to basically control the flow of the match. Because people will always have to come through here to get to one side or the other. They'll always have to come through here to get to one side or the other. So this map kind of has a natural hotspot just in the middle, just because of like the way the map is designed. But you can do things like Bull did in this video, where you kind of create the hotspot. And this one he's doing it more sort of like as a like a corner of the map specifically. That way, you know, they're right up against the edge, so, you know, they have to come from behind him. But this is a thing that happens naturally on maps. Here's Azerov's that I mentioned as well. Same thing. If you defend this gen that often spawns in the center here, they have to come through you to get to one side or the other. They have to come through you to get to one side or the other. They just have to. So you have a natural hotspot on these maps in the center. But you can create them as well by doing things like Bull did. That's smart to put that there, because you can't put it next to the hook, technically. But you can put it near the hooks. That way, if somebody runs through it trying to get to it, you can see it. See, that there, besides just kind of like... You don't need to exert this level of pressure at this point in the match. But, that there, there's no reason that that person should have got around you at all. For any reason. I know you just kind of want to be like, you know... be the nice person and not like, you know, camp hook when somebody's already dead. But like, there's no reason that person should have made it to hook without you seeing it. Yeah, I think it's wild that they let her drones affect things through the floor. I think it's really wild. That's one of the things about her, a few things about her that's like actually really strong. Yeah, because see, now they tap the gen, and that gen has retained most of its progress, and, you know, if this were a better team, they could have actually possibly turned this around with good gen perks. And splitting up. Fortunately for you, they're not that experienced of players, but like 2 gens is a very lofty place to be. Even with one person dead, 2 gens is a very, very lofty place to be. It's a very fragile point of the game for a killer. So if these guys had like you know, prove, hyper focus, stakeout, stuff like that, and they split up, they could theoretically get the last 2 gens done. Now, especially with that one being like back at like 85% because they tapped it. Like if she had full stacks of hyperfocus stakeout and hopped on that gen while you're chasing Kate, she could get that gen out, and then you'd be at 1. And if they have another gen out in the field somewhere that's like 50%, they could sit on that and get that done. And that would be it would probably be a 2 out because you would find probably at least 1 person, which is not a bad. That's a tie, but like, you know, like I was saying earlier, be careful about what kind of pressure you're giving up. when you're playing killer. Just be careful about what kind of pressure you give up, because you never know what kind of perks they have and what situations will occur because you kind of went easy on the pressure. He's not even dead either. Yeah. If this teammate was better, they probably could have actually turned things around with that play. Yeah, see, exactly. What? See, not, but it took a while because they probably don't have the right perks, but that allowed them to get that gen. Because, like, here's a perfect example here in this scenario. It is a Dwight as well. Like, Kate doesn't want to... Kate refuses to be healed because she just got a off hook. We're on our final gen. These two run off with Prove Thyself by themselves off to the corner of the map where one of the gens are and just proves it out super quickly. You know? Like, they could theoretically go do that if he had that perk and they knew the smart play here. So this could have... This could have easily fallen apart. It very easily could have fallen apart. Yeah, that's where both people try to leave, yeah. And then they all have adrenaline. Another good point. If they all have adrenaline, then you don't even have the injury aspect to them. These guys really are, like, running away from tiles, too. Like, these guys have been over in this corner of the map so many times, they've never used that path tile. They've never looped it into that tile over there, or looped this into the tile behind here. They have a good chain here, and they've never used it despite being here so many times. Like that, the long wall vault's there, too. Look at that. The long wall vault's right here. They vault that, run to the path tile, and tie... These three tiles are tied together. And they have not chained them once. They have just run away from it. Holy moly. That's crazy. They've never utilized that. This is what people are saying when they talk about, like old DBD, like, even though the setups were stronger, the survivors weren't as good because they didn't know how to utilize them. Because you're seeing this right now, is that's a very strong side of the map. Because they can theoretically tie all that together and just loop you, especially the M1 killer, for an incredibly long period of time. Almost everybody on the team has been over there at some point, and nobody is taking advantage of that. Literally nobody. Nobody is taking advantage of that side of the map at all. It's just stuff like that. It's just like, sometimes the loss is on the survivors. Sometimes they beat themselves. You know? See, like, he greets that, so, like, she greeted that so close to when you got there. Like, listen, she's working on it until, like, you're, like, right here. She's still on it right here. He's still on it right here. He's greeting this way too much. Reactivating drones, yeah. You want to keep the drones active, especially in areas you know survivors are, as much as possible. Anyway, I mean, that's a fine play. You have a bit of a 3-gen here, and she was running towards the tile. She has death hook, so if you could get her down quick, that's worthwhile. But if you don't have the confidence that you can do that, then yeah. You want to try? What's up? Ooh, she 99. Oh, smart of her. Yeah, luckily that pallet that's usually there is really strong. So it's good that wasn't there. There you go. See, just what you were saying, Alvin. There you go. It's like we reached into the past. We reached into the past. Messed with his head. Do it. There she goes. There she goes again. See, I don't know why she sprint bursts into nothing so often, where there's so many, like, good steps elsewhere. You know, you have gotten at least, like, 4 or 5 hits in this exact corner, even though there's nothing here. I don't know why the survivors keep running here. Like you are doing a good job, don't get me wrong. You are also playing fairly well. I'm just saying that, like, why do the survivors keep running to this little rock where there's nothing around? Like, I don't get it. Why do they keep coming here? I don't understand. Drone during his cake chase? I mean, like, I get it, because, like, he probably knows that, because he saw Dwight over on the right earlier, on that 4-lane gen, so he probably knows where Dwight is without having to check. You can check to be sure, but, like, I would also just through map knowledge just know, like, oh hey, he's probably over there, right? Games are long, they sure are, because it boils down to like, she's like Diet Knight. Like, she can just hold 3 gens really well. It's a very arduous and frustrating way to play the game, but it's like, you know, whatever works. Yeah, see, like, right there where you checked, you didn't have to check. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the match. You didn't have to check that at all. Because you could have seen already on the right side of your gadget that, you know, nobody was in any of your drone areas. You didn't have to, like, bring it up. You didn't have to bring it up. That right button would be lit up if somebody was in it. But now you know. Hopefully now you know that. And he's been dead. He's been dead since, like, 4 gens, so he's see, like, right now it's on, so, like, you would be able to, if you wanted to check and see, you'd be able to. So we finally get to remember I was talking about, like, you know, how strong this side of the map was? We finally get here, and what does Claudette do? What does Claudette do? She just throws it, and then throws it. Like, how? How? I don't understand. How do we finally get here to the side of the map that I've been talking about? It's been strong this entire time, and she just chucks the 2 pallets. She just chucks them. She doesn't even loop them. Oh my god. See, like, it's fine to commit to this chase, because, like, you know she's over there, but, like, you have 2 people dead, so you can just kill somebody. She's not gonna like, the gens had so little progress that, like, unless you have a terrible, awful chase, like, you're not gonna be in a bad position here. Stole her add-on value. That's very kind. Nah, it's just a... Well, you knew Kate was up here on one of the gens. Because she was in the gold of your drone. At the gold aura of your drones. So you know she's up here somewhere. At this point in the match, like, why kick the gen? Wait, why? Like, why? Yeah, why kick this? At this point, this person's trying to find hatch. Like, why kick the gen? You're trying to beat somebody to the hatch right now. You're playing the hatch game. Why kick the gen? that I find curious. You're wasting time kicking the gen here. Hey, Marima, how's it going? How are you, friend? For PP? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. I guess. I mean, you could down her, kill her, and then go kick the gen. You could also do it in the reverse order to be fine. Points? Yeah, but like, I would do that after you find hatch, not like before. But maybe that's just me. If you're trying to beat somebody to hatch, you know. She's looking cross map, you're looking cross map. You know. There you go. Yay, challenge. Yeah, because right now you're playing an RNG game of like, yeah, who gets hatch first. Now you're lucky that you got it, but like, you know, you did a lot of side quests on the way to finding it, so you know, that could have went wrong. Now, luckily for you, you're playing Skull Merchant. I don't think that's close enough to that door. Okay, luckily you know she's over here. Yeah, that was not close enough to that door. If she wasn't there, I would have picked up that drone and placed it near the door. Yeah, the gate game is free with this character. As long as you're paying attention. Smart to forego the pallet here, because like they're either she dies to end game or like you could have this chase last as long as you want. What? Ah! She just ran into the wrong part of the tile. You see that? Homie Kate, the tile's this way. Why are you running into a... You're literally running into a brick wall. You're literally running into a brick wall, Catherine. You're running into a brick wall, Kathy. Kathy Denson. Just a little lost. These survivors were something. Just like me, for real. I hope not. He's just a baby. Wow. That was the match. That was definitely an interesting one. Let's see what their perks are. Because I want to see what they brought with the way they were playing. Okay, Ada may not even have like 4 perk slots open. Got banana, dead hard, and spinach circle. Claudette had prove. Claudette and Dwight had prove? Brother, how did they not win that endgame? Claudette and Dwight both had prove. How did they not win that endgame? You know what I was talking about? Like where they got down to 1 gen, they got that gen done? How did Claudette and Dwight not get that gen done? Were they messing around? Were they not on that gen like every chance they could? Did they waste too much time? And for someone, Catherine Denson here had windows of opportunity with her sprint burst. She had windows of opportunity and she kept running into dead zones? Oh my. Oh. What? Yeah, I did. Yeah. Erie is a survivor side map. I don't know if you knew that. It still is, even after the update. Not as aggressively as it used to be, but like, it's still a pretty survivor side map. So if you don't know that, yeah, now you do. Okay. That's something. Windows plays the game for you. Smile. But like, you know, no kappas. Like, legitimately, that's why I disagree with that. Did stream a dime at some point? Yeah. Yeah, I did. Yeah, like, for some reason, like, things have just been wonky all day. So, yeah. But, like, literally, like, that's, like, no kappas. That's why I say that. That's why I hate that take that Windows of Opportunity plays the game for you. Because, like, you saw it, right? You saw her. You saw Catherine Denson have Windows of Opportunity, and she took her sprint burst, and she ran into dead zones, like, almost, like, the entire match. Like, she had 2 good sprint bursts at the beginning where she ran to Shaq and a strong tile, and every other time she sprint bursted into a dead zone. Like Windows of Opportunity does not play the game for you, because she literally sprint bursted into nothing half the time she was using her sprint burst. And she literally has the perk that tells her, hey, don't go over there. There's nothing over there. That's literally all Windows Opportunity is. It's a dead zone avoider. And she ran into dead zones over and over while using sprint burst. Like, okay. All right. Okay, so main takeaways. So it's return back to forum here. Main takeaways. For you, there are Skull Merchant specific things that you were not doing. Obviously, you need to know stuff about, like, what with her little iPad. The left button means, can I put this down or not? And the right button is somebody actually in my drone area or not. There was plenty of times that, like, you checked your doohickey even though the right button wasn't on, which didn't make sense, and vice versa. Like, there was plenty of times that you checked your doohickey on the right side, even though there's nobody there, and you checked your left when, you know, you didn't need to. Basically, you checked a lot of things without knowing what the buttons were doing. So you need to know what those do. And just general stuff with her that, you know, was kind of needless. There was some smart stuff you were doing. Like, you know, putting a drone up so you could get that extra speed while carrying somebody, you know, throwing it up in the middle of the chase. Like, you know, that stuff was good. And you knew how to do that part. It seems like you were better with the drones, but not so much like the tracking part of her power. Like, the actual info and tracking part you seem to be lacking in. And maybe you just don't know what the buttons on the top of the doohickey do, but now you do. Now you do. Whereas when it came to, like, actually throwing the drone up at the right times, you're pretty good at that. The second thing, which is, this is going to be a funny thing, this isn't necessarily for you, I guess, but it's just kind of like I guess it's kind of for you, but for everybody, it's like, you played fairly well, but honestly, the survivors beat themselves. Besides Ada, there's no reason they should have lost this match. You sent them to a survivor-sided map with really, really good setups that I saw actively on the map, and they had really good perks, sans Ada. Besides Ada, they brought the right perks to win this match. They had a green medkit, brown medkit even. Like, they had all the tools to win this match, and they just didn't. Their terrible looping, running into dead zones, and not being efficient on gens is why they lost this match. They should have won this match. And they just didn't. And I thoroughly believe the survivors beat themselves. Like, there's no reason with double prove, multiple circles of healing, multiple good medkits, and a survivor-sided map that they ever should have lost this. Like, their terrible looping is what got them in this situation. Like legitimately, like, their lack of ability to do the gens in an efficient manner and their terrible looping is what killed them here. So I think it's really, really good to also understand that sometimes the win isn't really always you as well. I think that's another, like, that's just like a, you know, I think it's a killer ego thing to just be like, every win I have, it's because of my immense skill and strength and map knowledge or whatever. Like, I'm just a great player, and that's why I won every match. It's like, sometimes you just win because the other side's bad. You know? Like, sometimes you just win because the other team's bad. And it's good to have your ego be humble and understand that sometimes, you know, a lot of that wasn't necessarily me. And I think this is unfortunately one of those matches where, like, a lot of what contributed to, you know, the game going the way it did was because of the survivors. Except when I play, it's always my skill. Yeah, okay, buddy. All right. Okay. Yeah, keep that in mind. That sometimes the wins are not always directly related to things that you've done correctly, and is often the result of the other team doing things very, very badly, very consistently, which is unfortunately this team. So, yeah, I think that would be my only 2 takeaways from this. Because in terms of just like general looping, like you stuck to your death hook gamers, good. You left bad chases that were going to lead you to like shack or really bad parts of the map, good. Yeah, there was just like very, 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 very minor stuff in terms of like your actual like gameplay. Yeah, it was not a great game to display the killer's skill. Yeah, because, you know, I can't, like, are you good at chase? You know, you seems like it, right? Like, seems like you've got, like, some good fundamentals down, but when, you know, Catherine Denson keeps running into the rock at the edge of the map that has no loops, I mean, like, I feel like a toddler could smack somebody over there. Like, a toddler with a controller could hit somebody out in that dead zone, you know? So it makes it kind of hard to, like, you know, it makes it hard to see, like, and it's bad for you too, because like, and that's why matchmaking is important, is essentially the side conversation that's happening here, the pseudo conversation, is like, you don't really learn from that either, right? Like, you don't improve facing 3 gamers that leave a 4 lane that's tied into a path tile into another jungle gym, running into a dead zone instead. Like, you don't learn anything. You don't learn how to loop better. You don't learn how to play anything better. They're essentially denying you growth. Like, it's nice to get the W, but they deny you growth by doing that, which sucks. Which is why, like, that's why I like the people that actually play this game well are some of the best people, like, that you should run into. And I think it's so frustrating that it seems like such a large part of the killer main community is so like, I just want easy matches, because they'll never improve only having those easy matches. They really won't, right? And I think that's, you know, also rightfully so, why like a lot of killers get really frustrated at like gen cheese, because there's not really a whole lot you could have done there besides run a better build, right? So that is also an experience you don't learn from, which is why that feels bad. So that's why, like, somewhere in the middle are typically the kind of matches you want to be having. Same with Survivor Side? Yeah, Survivor Side's the same way, which is why I don't prefer it over Killers. Like, a lot of it comes down to I should have just brought a better build. And that just doesn't feel good. That's not like a teachable moment. I can't learn from that. It's just, I just should have brought a better build. Woohoo. Like, okay. You know, I probably figured that out halfway through the match anyway. Survivors are really good to be nothing to do with this map. Yeah, because like, if you got one good, I would say one good looper. I feel like if Ada was a juicer, or if like Kate was a juicer, took you to that left side of the map with the path tile into the jungle gym into the 4 lane, like, his match would be a very different story. They got down to 1 gen. They got down to 1 gen. They were already close. 1 bad chase and that's it. That's the rest of the match, right? So it gave you your adept, but it denied your ability to learn. So, yeah. Not really your fault. You can't do anything about that, but that's why matchmaking is important, because you don't really learn from playing against bad players. Did hold it? Yeah, they had 2 gens about halfway. Like the one on the far left and the one on the right. Like, they almost had those done. Didn't overcommit? Yeah, overcommitting to chase is often like the death of a game, because you get big in your head and you get an ego and you're like, I can down them quickly, and then here you are, like 4 pallets thrown later, just suffering. Right? So it's good that you didn't do that. Undercommit or overcommit? Yeah, they'll like not want to chase anybody. They'll like not want to chase anybody at all, or they'll just like chase somebody for all 5 gens, and there's no in between. Yeah, anyways, TLDR. There's a lot of skull merchant specific things with like her iPad and the way you utilize her info you should do better, and also maybe be a little humble and realize that, like, you know, a lot of the reason you won this is because the survivors were bad and you played fairly well, but they kind of screwed themselves over for the most part. So, yeah.